Trevor Jackson may be one of the biggest Call of Duty superfans out there, but there's one battle he's absolutely not eager to engage in: the fast-growing invasion of AI-generated artists climbing the Billboard charts and standing shoulder to shoulder with real human musicians. For Trevor, who has spent a lifetime shaping his music through personal experiences, emotional vulnerability, and years of relentless hard work, the thought of sharing the same artistic space with performers created entirely by lines of code feels deeply unsettling. It's not just about competition, it's about the integrity of the craft. Trevor sees music as something born from the heart, a reflection of joy, pain, heartbreak, growth, and every messy chapter in between. When he steps into the studio, he brings his history, his voice, and his soul. But watching algorithm-driven creations begin to occupy the same platforms and receive the same recognition raises serious questions for him about where the industry is heading. To Trevor, the rise of AI artists isn't merely a technological shift, it's a potential turning point that could reshape what audiences value and how success is measured. It challenges what it means to be an artist in a world where a machine can mimic vocals, generate lyrics, and pump out songs at lightning speed. And as someone who believes deeply in the human element behind music, the imperfections, the struggle, the emotional weight, he can't help but feel a sense of discomfort watching artificial performers inch closer to the spotlight traditionally reserved for real, breathing artists who fought their way up the ladder. During Monster Energy's massive Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launch event in New York City, a high-octane celebration that practically took over the venue, the atmosphere was electric from the moment the doors opened. The event wasn't just big, it was cinematic. Giant LED screens flashed gameplay teasers, the bass from the sound system rattled through the floor, and fans rushed from booth to booth to get their hands on exclusive demos. Everywhere you looked, there were clusters of gamers shouting over friendly battles, influencers capturing every angle for live streams, and celebrities drifting through the crowd, adding an extra layer of star power to an already buzzing afternoon. It was in the middle of this whirlwind of excitement that TMZ Hip Hop managed to catch Trevor Jackson for a conversation on Saturday afternoon. The timing couldn't have been more intense. People were cheering, cameras were flashing, and the anticipation for the game's release hung thick in the air. Yet despite all that chaos, Trevor paused long enough to dive into a surprisingly serious and timely topic. Amid the roar of the crowd and the non-stop stimulation of the event, TMZ asked him about one of the most heated and transformative conversations happening in the music industry right now: the rapid growth of artificial intelligence in creative spaces. They weren't just asking about AI as a tool, but AI as a potential force, one capable of writing songs, producing entire albums, imitating artists' voices, and possibly redefining what it even means to be a musician in today's world. Their question cut through the noise of the event, shifting the moment from pure entertainment to a deeper cultural discussion. Standing there in an environment fueled by technological innovation and futuristic gaming experiences, Trevor found himself addressing a topic that is equally futuristic and potentially far more disruptive. It raised the question of whether the creative industries are on the verge of evolution or on the brink of losing something irreplaceable as AI continues to accelerate. Trevor didn't hold back, not for a second. He made it clear that he isn't against technology at all. In fact, he's genuinely intrigued by innovation and the endless possibilities it brings to art, entertainment, and everyday life. But even with that appreciation, he believes that artificial intelligence is a tool that demands careful, almost cautious stewardship. To him, it's something that must be approached with thoughtful responsibility rather than blind excitement. Trevor explained that his biggest concern isn't the technology itself, but what happens after it becomes widely accessible. Once AI reaches the general public, once it's in every device, every app, every studio, there's simply no realistic way to regulate how people use it. He worries about a future where the industry becomes flooded with AI-generated songs, where quantity outweighs quality, and where the ease of creation overshadows the years of discipline, sacrifice, and emotional labor that real artists pour into their work. For musicians who have spent decades perfecting their craft, pushing through creative blocks, refining their sound, and building their identity, the possibility of being overshadowed by instant, algorithmically produced content feels like a genuine threat. Trevor fears that the rise of AI could gradually devalue not just music, but the meaning of artistic achievement itself. As he put it, once this kind of technology is released into the world, you can't put the air back in the bottle. The metaphor says it all. Once it's out, it spreads, multiplies, and evolves on its own, often faster than society can keep up with. In his eyes, AI isn't a genie you can stuff back into a lamp. It's a force that, once set into motion, begins shaping culture in unpredictable ways. And while Trevor respects progress, he believes these changes must be met with awareness, caution, and a genuine respect for the humans who create art the old-fashioned way, with soul. To drive his point home, Trevor brought up several iconic films that have become cultural touchstones for conversations about technology spiraling beyond human control. He referenced movies like I, Robot, AI, Artificial Intelligence 2001, and Avengers, Age of Ultron, stories that, despite being fictional, offer powerful cautionary messages. In each of these films, advanced machines begin as tools designed to help humanity, but eventually grow beyond their original programming, developing their own goals, logic, and identities. What starts as innovation slowly evolves into something unmanageable, unpredictable, and ultimately dangerous. Trevor explained that while these movies are meant to entertain, they also echo real fears that many artists and creators share today. The idea of technology becoming so efficient, so capable, and so dependent on itself that it leaves human creators behind is not as far-fetched as it once seemed. For the entertainment industry, especially music, these stories act as warnings about what can happen when innovation outpaces ethics, regulation, and respect for human artistry. He pointed out that no matter how advanced AI becomes, it still lacks the fundamental elements that make art meaningful: lived experience, emotional complexity, vulnerability, heartbreak, joy, and the messy, unpredictable journey of being human. Algorithms can mimic patterns, replicate voices, and assemble songs in seconds, but they cannot recreate the soul behind a lyric or the personal story behind a melody. For Trevor, this is where the real danger lies. If the industry becomes too dependent on AI, something precious could be lost: the authenticity that comes from real people expressing real feelings. Creativity, emotion, and human experience, he believes, are irreplaceable. And once we allow machines to occupy the same artistic space as humans, we risk blurring the line between genuine expression and manufactured imitation, potentially reshaping culture in ways we may come to regret. To drive his point home, Trevor brought up several iconic films that have become cultural touchstones whenever society debates the risks of advancing technology too quickly. He referenced movies like I, Robot, AI, Artificial Intelligence 2001, and Avengers, Age of Ultron, cinematic stories that, while fictional, serve as modern mythology about what happens when innovation pushes past the boundaries of ethics and human oversight. In each of these films, machines begin as harmless tools, created to support or enhance human life, but gradually evolve beyond their intended purpose. They develop independent thinking, their own interpretations of logic, and ultimately their own objectives. What starts as progress transforms into something unmanageable, unpredictable, and, in many cases, devastating. Trevor emphasized that although these movies are designed to entertain, their underlying messages resonate deeply with real-life concerns, especially among artists and creators navigating a digital era where technology evolves at breathtaking speed. The idea of machines becoming so efficient and so capable that they overshadow or even replace human creativity is no longer a distant sci-fi scenario. It's a genuine possibility. For the entertainment industry, particularly the music world, these stories function as cautionary tales about what can happen when innovation races forward with no clear rules, no guardrails, and no respect for the human hands and hearts that built the industry in the first place. He made a point of noting that no matter how advanced AI becomes, there are elements of human artistry that simply can't be duplicated. A machine can analyze patterns, study trends, and generate lyrics at a pace no human can match. It can imitate voices with eerie accuracy, produce melodies in seconds, and follow formulas designed to appeal to mass audiences. But what it can't reproduce is the stuff that gives music its soul, lived experience, emotional nuance, vulnerability, heartbreak, joy, trauma, nostalgia, growth, the entire spectrum of human feeling that shapes an artist's voice and identity. AI can simulate sound, but it cannot simulate a life. For Trevor, that's where the real danger lies. He believes the industry risks losing something irreplaceable if it becomes overly reliant on artificial intelligence. If the lines between human expression and synthetic imitation become too blurred, audiences might start valuing convenience over authenticity without even realizing what they've traded away. And once that shift happens, once artificial voices become indistinguishable from real ones, the culture of music, its meaning, its significance, its emotional power, could change in irreversible ways. In his eyes, creativity, emotion, and human experience aren't just components of art, they are the heart of art. And if machines begin to occupy the same artistic space as humans, without boundaries or accountability, the industry may one day look back and realize it surrendered something priceless, the raw, imperfect, irreplaceable essence of what makes music human. Despite all the challenges and uncertainties, Trevor remains surprisingly hopeful. He isn't resentful or angry about the rise of AI. Instead, he's approaching the situation with a thoughtful perspective. He isn't calling for technology to disappear. He's calling for fairness, proper recognition, and protection for the artists who still pour their hearts, time, and lived experiences into their work. For Trevor, it's not about fighting against innovation. It's about making sure that human creativity isn't overshadowed or devalued as the industry moves into a new, technologically driven era. And while the music world is undergoing a massive cultural shift, Trevor is embracing the moment with confidence and clarity, stepping fully into a new chapter of his artistic journey. Today marks the release of his newest project, I Love You, Goodbye, the greatest breakup album of all time, a bold, emotionally charged, and deeply personal body of work that he has been crafting with intention. He calls it the kind of album that doesn't just tell a story, it feels like one. Each track delves into the complexity of heartbreak, the quiet moments of healing, and the kind of growth that only comes from going through something painful and coming out stronger on the other side. The project represents years of experience, introspection, and emotional honesty, and Trevor genuinely believes this album could be the turning point he's been waiting for. After more than 20 years of pouring himself into music without landing on the Billboard charts, he's optimistic, for the first time in a long time, that this might be the one. Not because of hype, algorithms, or artificial buzz, but because the music is real, rooted in life, and created with genuine passion. For Trevor Jackson, this isn't just an album release, it's a statement, a milestone, and a chance to claim the recognition he feels human artists still deserve in an increasingly digital world. For Trevor Jackson, this moment represents far more than the release of a new album. It's an opportunity to make a statement about the future of music itself. In an era where machines are becoming increasingly capable of imitating human creativity, He sees this project as his chance to reaffirm that real artistry still matters, and that the human voice, imperfect, emotional, and alive, can never truly be replaced. And whether AI-generated artists continue to rise or fade, Trevor is unwavering in his mission. He's determined to show that genuine emotion, passion, and human storytelling will always carry a power that algorithms can't replicate. For him, great music doesn't come from data or patterns. It comes from heartbreak, triumph, vulnerability, struggle, and the lived experiences that shape who we are. It comes from late nights in the studio, from personal battles, from memories that hurt and memories that heal. Trevor believes that as long as artists continue to create from their souls, not for trends, not for shortcuts, and not for artificial perfection, there will always be listeners who crave that authenticity. People will always gravitate toward music that feels real, music that speaks to their own experiences, music that reminds them they're not alone. In his eyes, that's the kind of magic no machine will ever understand, no matter how advanced it becomes. And with this new chapter in his career, Trevor Jackson is ready to remind the world exactly why human-made art still matters and why it always will.